Hello.
Welcome to our webinar, our last one of the year. Today we're going to be talking to you about social media trends in 2025.
Yes.
So just a little bit about us first. I'm Hannah, I'm Head of Content here at Entice.
And I am Emily, I am Entice's social media executive.
So let's get started.
Let's go.
So the first thing I'm going to talk to you today is entertainment is king. As always, I feel like I say this every single year, but it is one of the reoccurring trends in social media. But specifically, what I'm kind of talking to you a little bit, it will become clear, is above all else, I think, reason why it keeps coming up is above all, people want to be entertained on social media. And I think this is one of the things that people tend to forget it's what it's actually for, where it started.
Exactly. A lot of businesses do forget that.
I think people want to see people like faces and silly little memes that you send to each other. It's all about connecting. And I think we all know, anyone who's ever worked in marketing and social media, that the posts that aren't focused around that hard sell, that aren't completely as are automatically viewed as more authentic and trustworthy, and therefore connect a lot more deeply with your audience. So this year we saw this kind of more than ever in 2024. I think it was TikTok at the end of 2023 that predicted that this year brands and creators would go bolder than ever, and I think this is definitely true. So many brands have now stepped up their entertainment game, and in doing that, they've kind of almost stepped away from their traditional face and persona and tone of voice that we'd typically see used across their other social media channels. They're really going to town on social media and really having fun with it,
which I think probably a lot of businesses have been quite nervous to do previously. There is that thing of like sticking to your tone of voice through every platform, every channel, website, whatever it is, but actually people want entertainment now, and it is okay to switch that up. Natural History Museum, their website is educational, informative, but you go onto their TikTok and it is really funny, and it is okay.
Have to follow them. I don't follow it, but that's brilliant. And the thing is, it should be, because they're B2C, that want to connect with their audience. Actually, but it's a fun way of doing that. And if they're bringing up a younger audience in, people who are more typically on TikTok, they're going to see it as a fun place to go, and it is great. Actually, you should go if you go to London. Definitely go. So because me and my kids love it, and it's great. But I think we all read the Hootsuite report that came out in about social media trends in 2025, and something that they obviously focus quite hard on is that 45% of organisations have tried out a new tone of voice or persona on social media in the last year. And I think because it's been so successful, we're going to see a lot more brands kind of doing the same thing in 2025. I think so many brands now have used their try and concentrate their content on things that entertain or educate or inform, and don't necessarily directly promote themselves or their services. And I think this, again, from the Hootsuite report, but I think they said up to like 60% of brands' content is that now. And
that's it. Well, I mean, audiences are savvy now. They know when there's a hard sell, and they don't want that.
Exactly. I think it's just in line with like the natural evolution of social and brand culture and things, and obviously you can really play with your brands on social media, and I think a lot more brands are starting to do that now. So they're ripping up the playbook, they're being a lot more creative, and they're stepping outside those confinements of tone of voice and formality that you can see on other channels, like obviously websites and press releases and things. They can have a completely different tone of voice, and I think a lot of brands are realizing that that's now okay.
That is fine.
And so straight to say, but yay for creativity on social. So next one up is comments where the action is, which is something obviously everybody's been saying forever. It's a staple in marketing to go where your audience are.
Well, it sounds obvious, but maybe it's not, necessarily.
I mean, I think people forget, 'cause it's all very well like, who is your target audience, come up with a persona, find out where they are. But then I think when it comes to social media, I think what people tend to forget is once your post is kind of out there on those channels, you really need to work hard now to get it seen organically.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of the real magic comes in is actually in the comment section.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting a lot of engagement on that post, that's where your audience are. But they're there, they're under your post. They literally open that tab and you can see them all. So I think the number one rule has been for don't post in ghost, interact with your audience. I know it's hard to find the time, especially if there's a lot, but talk. And I think brands sort of like Innocent do this really well. They talk they comment a lot and sort of like in their own posts, and they have conversations with people online. Particularly, I think everybody sees their Bake Off tweets, and they really, really engage with people.
Yeah.
But I think what's been completely like blown up in the past sort of like this year, and I think will carry on into next year, is brands getting involved in conversations, but not just within their own post feed, and not just like so. I think Aldi is a brilliant example of this. That they're constantly commenting on other brands' posts that are doing well, inserting themselves in that conversation, and obviously viral posts as well, just jumping on whatever is relevant or trending. And really, it's reactive marketing at its finest.
And not worrying as well, you know, just going for
not thinking too much about kind of like, and they're a good example of what we were talking about before as well. But the last slide, they do have a very clear social media tone of voice, which is completely different to who they are outside of social, and that's fine. Like their website's very, very functional, whereas social media they have a lot of fun with. Like Ryanair, another one, they're constantly jumping on things and talking to other people and appearing in comments of other brands, and it's
well, like you say, the quote tweets are probably as successful
as their regular tweets. And
exactly.
they're just and so that means that if they're always there, wherever you kind of look, they're there somewhere. And that's what you want for your brand, is visibility and always be in the forefront of the mind.
And also then you get to know your audience better. So
brilliant.
Okay, so the next point we're going to talk about is EGC is the new UGC. So in case you maybe aren't aware, UGC is user generated content, and for years now, businesses, brands have really used that to their advantage. So, you know, their customers, their consumers have been generating content online, and businesses have absolutely jumped on that. But now there's been a little bit of a shift, and businesses are starting to realize that actually who are your best brand ambassadors? They're your team, they're your employees. And if you can get them sort of on board, then that is a win-win situation all round. In terms of, I would say it probably really helps with creating a great culture, a workplace culture, which is such an important aspect of, you know.
Yeah, it really does.
Everything now.
I think it's something that we really notice with working in Endorphin.
Yes.
So Entice have a internal comms side of the business called Endorphin, and we work with a lot of businesses on their internal comms as well as kind of external, and really bringing sort of like employees and and all of that sort of stuff. But what we really, really find when we're working with a brand on their internal comms is how much it kind of helps external comms as well, and vice versa. So the more like kind of reward and recognition, and you're posting all of these things on your social media, the more it kind of like, the better it kind of feels on the inside.
That's
as well.
It does. It fosters that team culture, and
and people enjoy seeing their team faces, their own faces, and just kind of really getting involved in that. So it is, it does have a positive ripple effect across kind of everything across a business, but and not just social media.
Absolutely. And the other key thing about it is, you know, anyone who's searching for a job, I mean, we've put 75% of job seekers now in our research, but I would say, you know, really anyone that we know who's researching a company now will go onto their social channels, particularly LinkedIn, and see, you know, not just the kind of corporate sort of line, but they want to know what it's like to work there. What are the employees saying about the business? Whether that's like leaders putting out thought pieces, which is really good for the business as well, or whether it's kind of just colleagues who are kind of sharing stuff, celebrating wins.
It does, like, because we all like everybody does it now, because it's so like you are on there, so all like when you know, you just think whenever you're recruiting, all of these people are checking out your social channels, and they're checking out your culture and what they can see on there. So it's really,
so that's it, that team buy-in is a win-win, like
you
say.
It is. It's really important, because I think everybody takes Glassdoor like a pinch of salt now, which is
of course,
which is sad, but it has got that reputation now, which is sad. But LinkedIn doesn't so far, so I think it is a really important way, and obviously doing behind the scenes content with your audience.
That's it.
It just helps people feel connected and really giving a face to your brand, whereas. Because your brand tone of voice on social media, quote tweets and things can only take you so far when it comes to people, and having that authenticity of a real face and a real person. I work here, I love it. This is all the fun stuff that you can't.
That's it, exactly. So, and it's not just about, recruitment or retention of, your existing current employees. It's also really good for business. Like, other brands want to work, other brands want to work with you, and it absolutely, like you say, it fosters that sort of positive team culture.
100%.
So the next trend that we're going to look at, I say trend, it's AI but smarter.
So you can't talk about trends at all now without mentioning AI. It's another recurring one.
Honestly, I mean, we have seen this absolutely incredible rise in AI tools, but things like ChatGPT are just so normal now. In the last 12 months, I mean, it's gone into so many industries, not just within marketing, where it has just become normal. People were really scared of it at first, weren't they? But it's here, and we're taking it to our advantage.
There's no more of this, oh my god, ChatGPT is going to replace me, AI is coming for my job. It's what we've seen a lot of this year, and what I think we will see a lot more next year, is marketers really harnessing it and to make things quicker and easier on themselves, because obviously if you've ever worked in social media or you're working it now, the content, it's just increasing more and more. Like we have to appease the algorithm.
Much,
and there's just the pure amount of it, the pure amount of social channels and more content. And it's just really easing that pressure when you've got
these tools that
you can use sort of automatically, and they shouldn't take away the creativity. It should
aid. Exactly. That's it. So certainly from a marketer's point of view, we're using it for generating ideas. In fact, we've got a little bit of a list, but refining text. Is there an easier way to write something?
I know at 4 o'clock on a Friday when my brain's a bit fried and I'm thinking this sentence doesn't quite sound right and I can't think of another way. You do convert it into Chat.
That's what it's there
and it'll rewrite the sentence, and it'll kind of show me new ways of doing it, and I'm like, right, okay, of course. And it's just making that process a lot quicker.
That's it.
And obviously image generation as well, rather than making things look uncanny valley. It's getting a lot better.
It's getting better, and certainly kind of developing ideas. I mean, it is perfect for like that sort of ideas creation. I think it's quite obvious still when people are posting entire blogs that are purely written by ChatGPT, because
you can spot them a mile off. Please stop using AI to write your LinkedIn comments.
Yes, I mean it's still very obvious, and I would say that there is still always going to be a need for that like human touch.
Definitely.
But it's here to stay, and we are absolutely embracing it.
We're using
I
think and I think you have to more often in 2025.
That's it. One other thing as well is it's absolutely fantastic for reporting.
Of course.
All of the kind of
all the above.
all of the above.
So social media as a search engine. So this is almost definitely something that you've come across before. I think that me and Beck, our digital marketing manager, I think this is something that we covered last year, maybe in one of our webinars. SEO. So that's on YouTube now if you want to find out a little bit more about it. But obviously, social media, people using social media as a search engine, has increased in popularity massively over the last year, and this is only going to continue to rise in 2025. So I think we know that so many people now use social media to search for things over traditional search engines. such as Google, other search engines are available. And I know personally, whenever I go anywhere, I use TikTok as a planning tool. Everything is
holiday planning, travel planning.
Exactly. Tips, everything. I get book recommendations, like you were saying before, you have recipes.
So like recipes now, it's easier. The videos are there, it's easier. And there's an element you can kind of trust. It's not necessarily like being pushed onto you. It's not a paid advert particularly. It's
and it's something that I'm looking out for myself, but that's the genius really as well. Like I was saying before, that I booked to go on a mini trip to Bucharest in Romania in January, and that is a purely TikTok
because
driven.
Of TikTok,
because I kept seeing these things, but like the spa and all these tours for Dracula's Castle coming up, and I was like, this all sounds really cool, and we're going to book it. And I've been told this purely on TikTok, and I'm not even sure that from ads really.
That's what I mean though. There's an authenticity, which is that word's kind of bandied about a lot, but it's true.
There's a real authenticity there, and I think that comes across so much more than whether I just Google it and get a load of ads for tours. I haven't had the same inspiration, whereas the face and the so I think we're going to see more and more of this. I think obviously 59% of us now do it. Obviously the stat rises to 62% in Gen Z users, and obviously as the younger generation come and TikTok and social media come more and more.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think as well, there is a tendency to think TikTok is for the younger generation, but it's not necessarily. People, it is becoming normal. It's becoming another Google. So
and it's brilliant. So essentially, and when it comes to kind of like marketing, and it's definitely, and even if your business isn't on TikTok, you're not B2C, you're not a travel company, it's still 100% a trend worth paying attention to, because the search journey now is multi-channel, and it starts so much earlier than it used to. So when it even comes to like LinkedIn and things like that,
I was going to say,
good content, good engaging social posts do help improve your EEAT, which in turn does improve your rankings. So as a whole marketing strategy, using social media as a search engine is a trend that really marketers do need to be paying attention to, and this will definitely grow in 2025. Teams are going to be, SEO and social, going to be working more together and really create strategies to
it's multifaceted, isn't it?
To reach this growing audience and really harness this as a tool.
Absolutely. So the next point that we're going to talk about is the rise of B2B influencer marketing. So obviously for a number of years, influencers have been such a key part of any B2C strategy. But we're finally seeing B2B businesses really get in on this action. So even if you don't have, a consumer product or a service, it's still, it's going to become such an important part of your business.
I think we've just seen more and more. I don't know if you've spotted, but people have been using like hashtag ads on LinkedIn, and I've seen that on a couple of well-known LinkedIn influencer people who have been kind of big names on LinkedIn for a long time, but now I've seen the odd few starting to do hashtag ads and starting to promote services, and particularly AI tools and things like that really will
like resonate with that,
with the audience. Because if you are B2B, then it's likelihood that your audience are going to be on LinkedIn. And I think we're going to see more B2B businesses harnessing the nature of influencer marketing. So really, if somebody's big in a particular topic, then they can lend their professional authority. If they've already built up an audience and they talk about this topic in the same way that B2C works, they can talk about it, and they really lend that professional authority.
Exactly. And obviously, they have the professional authority. They might have a slightly different perspective. Which
and outside, and hearing it outside of the brand perspective as well. So obviously, brand perspective, is viewed as biased. Because, you would say that it's also it's your brand, but it's somebody else saying it, regardless whether they're paid to or not. But influencers should never promote something they don't believe in anyway, because otherwise, that doesn't tend to work as well.
It doesn't. People can see through that, and I think especially on the likes of LinkedIn, a lot of people who have built up a really big audience on LinkedIn, they are sort of trustworthy. They are authoritative on that subject, and I think finally now businesses are starting to kind of use that to their advantage and work with those people. So yeah, we're definitely going to expect to see a lot more of that on LinkedIn and also on like YouTube.
But like YouTube, TikTok as well. Like obviously we're seeing more and more B2B brands on other other channels as well. So I fully expect to see kind of all of that. And it's useful doing, because obviously if you can get somebody else to talk about, you know, you reach their audience, they can deliver content in an engaging way, which they are experienced in, and you might like not have that experience in. So it's 100 different there's lots of different benefits for it, and it's good to see that B2B businesses are
finally getting
in on the action, harnessing it. So there's just something else that I want to talk about now. Social media for under 16s. So this is something that I saw pop up in the news last week. So I just wanted to kind of tag it on and start a bit of a conversation about it. So according to the BBC, this a possible ban for social media for under 16s is on the table.
We've already seen it.
Yeah, we have already seen it. In Australia, they said they were going to introduce similar legislation. We've had talks about it from a long time. I think social media accounts now, so obviously Instagram teen accounts. That's been in the news quite a lot. They've been talking about. I think I read this week that they're talking about blocking beauty filters on the teen accounts.
Right. Okay.
And Roblox, quite famously, like they banned young children from messaging each other, which is a great
it's definitely something that I think is probably on a lot more people's radar now,
and especially sort of like parents of young kids. And I do it is, because like my little girl, she asked to go on TikTok, and she's not allowed to use it on her own. She sits on my knee so I can scroll past the ones that are appropriate really quickly. But she knows. But
it's normal to kids now, and I think it's certainly something that we're going to see more of. Privacy, data protection, safety online.
Safety online is a huge thing. So maybe I think with kids more and more constantly online and consuming this information, and there's a big internet world out there, and so I think safety online, but a potential social media ban for under 16s, and or even like a cultural shift as to how we consume social media and how I think there's going to be quite a few changes on the back of these legislation and talks, and not quite in 2025, but in the sort of the coming years. So, and I think that's something that brands who use social media managers,
should
people who
definitely be aware of and have that understanding.
People work with social media platforms, kind of how that would work as a whole. So if you do have any thoughts, obviously, on this ban for social media, do you think social media should be banned for under 16s? What do you think about it? So please pop us a thing in the comments if you have anything to say. And that's kind of it for us. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. We look forward to working with you. And
if you do have any questions about any of today, obviously you can reach me or on LinkedIn. We are there. And pop a comment in the comment section. Or thanks.
Thanks so much.
Get in touch with those things. Right, cool. Right. Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye.